4 years ago. I remember this being a very hectic week. You seem more relaxed than I was at the time, probably because you've been through it before. You probably heard some of the commentary from my colleagues today and from me about this budget. I'm very disappointed because I don't think it rises to the challenge that you yourself have set out or the President have set out. I wish I could say otherwise. By the way, I think there's some opportunities, and Senator Cardin just talked about one, and the Chairman's talked about this as well, which is tax reform that's not in the budget, that would help in terms of creating the economic growth that enabled us 4 years ago to be able to propose a balanced budget over 5 years, because we had substantial revenues coming in and a deficit that was roughly 1/9 of today's deficit. So at the risk of doing sort of the the specific critiques that used to drive me crazy, let me give you some critiques that I see in this budget and get your response, because I may be misreading it. As I look at it, getting into some of the details, I see about $960 billion in what I would call either imaginary or unspecified savings, in one case wishful savings. And we've talked about some of them today, but not all of them. The doc fix we've talked about, and Senator Stabenow said she was pleased to see that you covered the doc fix through 2013. I look at that very differently. I see about $62 billion in savings, but those are 10-year savings. And actually on an annual basis over those years, it covers only about 8% of the cost, so those 2 fiscal years. And I wonder how that's considered a doc fix. If you look at the $315 billion in unspecified savings that you have for the doc fix, I'm not sure where that comes from. You look at the trust fund for transportation. It's called the Bipartisan Financing for Transportation Trust Fund. I guess that means Democrats and Republicans are both going to pay higher taxes. But I'm not sure what that means. I've been told it's a gas tax hike, but that's not what it says in the budget. And I've been told by others it's not a gas tax hike, so it seems to me that's unspecified. And lastly, of course, the AMT relief. We've talked about that. I guess you have clarified today for me that it is a reduction in tax expenditures related to limiting deductions on high-income individuals. That's always been considered a dead-on-arrival proposal, as it was last year in the budget. So I think that maybe not be imaginary or unspecified, but maybe wishful. If you add all these up, you get to a deficit that would be higher by about $964 billion, almost $1 trillion. And of course, that virtually eliminates the $1.1 trillion savings that you are claiming in the budget. So I'm concerned about the overall budget and the big picture we've talked about today, because it doesn't address the fundamental issues. It does increase the debt substantially, doubles it over the 10 years. But also, even the savings I see here, I wonder if you could tell me why you think these are real savings.
Senator, I'm happy to. I think if you take these items individually, the offsets that we use to pay for the 2 years of the so-called doc fix are very real savings. There's in the program integrity area, 16 specific line item proposals. We have policy behind each of them. I think the notion of pay-as-you-go rules are that you can take savings over 10 years and apply them to spending within the 10 years, and that's how we pay for it. So it's consistent with pay-as-you-go scoring, and I think that that is a very solid set of proposals.
These are Medicare savings over 10 years.
It's a combination of Medicare, Medicaid, Federal Employee Health Benefit Program. It's a variety of very specific policies.
To pay for the 2 years up to 20.
I would say that on the surface transportation bill, we are very clear in the budget that if we can work together on the policy for the investments, we need to also work together on the policies of paying for it, because we don't get one without the other. So I don't think that it does not increase the deficit. It just increases the risk of whether or not we can fund the surface transportation priorities. There are a lot of different ways that one could fund them. In the past, it's been an area where there's been the ability to work together on a bipartisan basis. We may have disagreements on the priorities. It may not be that the program is one where we all agree.
I think let's assume we agree on that, but there's
the pay-fors will have to follow, or we don't get the investment.
This is a budget that claims the pay-for, and you're just putting it out there as a pay-for. We'll figure out.
On the AMT, we do not count savings beyond the provision I described, and on the doctor fix in the out years, There's going to need to be a debate on what to do to resolve this so that we don't have to deal with it on an annual basis. So we have a reasonable policy on reimbursement. We don't keep going back to something that everyone agrees can't happen. And that's what we've proposed that we work together to do in this 3-year window that we've paid for.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know how much time you're allotting. I see it went down to 0 and back up to 30 seconds.
No, that means you're 32 seconds over.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a number of other questions.
Deficit.
But again, thanks for being with us today, Director Lewin. I hope we'll have a chance for a second round.
Senator Nelson.
Thank you for your public service.